Hey everyone. It is Friday, March 28th, 2025. It is in the afternoon. Let's see what time it is. 2:20 p.m. I recognize that a lot of people are probably still at work as it's Friday afternoon during the workday. But I'm going to start doing regular updates on the craziness that is my family law case. Let me adjust my camera just a little bit here. I don't need any of my stalkers using my baby belly pudge to make nasty, rude comments to me, because they have nothing better to do and are miserable humans. Anyways, so everyone is fully aware that I had a continuation hearing on Tuesday at 10 a.m. That hearing, for me, was incredibly healing. Thank you to everyone last night that gave me a hug, just came right up to me and gave me a hug at the Babes, Booze, and Business Gala last night, that have been following my story. They know that it's been a rough last few weeks as I get my story out and use my voice and muster up the courage to tell my story. I took my makeup off last night, so I've got some mascara darkness still. But since Tuesday, Mary Serlick has been filing all sorts of amusing things that I definitely want to share with you. So there are still no hearing notes from Tuesday's hearing from 10 a.m. to approximately 11:40 a.m. Eastern Time. If you have not seen the public records version of the recording, it is pinned to the top of my Facebook. Please indulge yourself. Grab a glass of wine and indulge yourself in this craziness that is my life, because I am quite literally a living soap opera. I used to watch One Life to Live, All My Children, General Hospital with my mom growing up, well into my adult years, pretty much when the whole show after almost 30 something years got canceled. But on a not very well known fact, other than perhaps Justin knowing this, is that my daughter Bianca is actually named after my favorite All My Children character, Bianca Montgomery, Erica Kane's daughter. I have always loved Erica Kane. I have always loved Bianca Montgomery on that show. So my 13-year-old Bianca is named after that character. So now I am living a soap opera, and I figured since I'm living it, I might as well let everyone enjoy the ride with me, because it just gets more humorous by the day. So definitely indulge yourself. It is a 1 hour and like 40 minute two-part hearing, because the Zoom was hijacked because General Magistrate Alexander Alvarez does not use a password and clearly does not know how to use Zoom and technology. And I'm sorry, but if you don't know how to use Zoom for your job, maybe you shouldn't be in charge of people's lives and making decisions for us. Just a thought. Anyway, so it was hijacked right in the middle of me testifying in regards to Justin Serlick's abuse to the kids and I. Convenient timing, I would think. Bunch of porn popped up on the screen. There was no sounds of porn. It was just the circus, which, I mean, this really is a circus. This really is a 3-ring circus, and Mary Serlick is the ringleader. So the circus sound, and then some pretty crazy images popped up, and I'm just like, I've been in IT for a very long time in human resources. It's not even surprising the dumb things people do in the workplace. So none of it bothered me. I honestly was fully expecting something like that. So anyways, I digress. Take a look at that 2-part Zoom where Circuit 7 had to edit that X-rated portion out. The end of part 1, you can actually see right as it started to pop up, but there's no visual. And then it just abruptly ends. And then part 2, you can very obviously see that General Magistrate Alex Alvarez and Justin are like, oh, my virgin eyes, oh my God. And I'm just like, can we get back to business here? So yeah, it honestly was incredibly funny. Because this whole case is incredibly, it's just, There's no other word for it. It's a shit show. It is a shit show, and Mary Serlick is running the shit show. That is my children's welfare and safety. It became very obvious while Justin was sworn under oath that he has been trained to lie through his mouth, regurgitate all of Mary Serlick's insane manifestations of reality. All it takes is one look at my docket and you can see that, yeah, Cole, it really is wild. You have known Justin and I for a very long time. And, I mean, you've seen me being forced to live with him. You've seen how he treats the kids and I. You've seen how he interjects himself whenever my friends are over because he doesn't have friends of his own. He's a loner, and he is an extreme introvert that has been loaning off of me since I met him and his best friend, John Pashal, at 15 years old at Round Lake High School. This is small town BS is what it is. That has now pulled my 4 children into this insane drama. So anyways, it's very obvious that Justin does not know this case at all. He has no clue what's actually going on. He has no clue what I'm actually filing. He has no clue what the documents are that he's actually referencing. Cole, it is 2 C words, collusion and corruption. Collusion and corruption. It is because Mary Serlick and Ira Serlick have connections and pay the right people. I mean, we all know how Chicago politics works. Campaign contribution here, campaign contribution there, pull in a favor as needed. Everybody knows how Chicago politics works. And I now have the evidence that Michael D. Nerheim of Illinois is connected to this Florida Circuit 7 case thanks to my first attorney, Mary Jane Nettles. I guess that $3,000 retainer I paid her for was worth that one email, because that one email is going to allow me to put a lot of people in prison for this bullshit by the time I'm done with it. But yeah, back to the hearing on Tuesday. The 2-part recording, I paid the $20 off of Florida Circuit 7's recordings. It's public record. Everyone has access to it, so nobody can whine that I'm making it public, because it is actually public record. Everything in my docket is public record. Anyone can create an account in Circuit 7 and then order the docket. It is not sealed like Illinois. Illinois likes to seal things so nobody can see it ever again unless a judge needs to open it. Florida, amazingly enough, and I love this because it's helping me bury all these people, but Florida has a very liberal open records policy. You can actually determine just by the license plate sticker who someone's car belongs to, because unlike Illinois, Florida's stickers are based on your month of birth. So if you see a sticker with 1 on it and then 2026 or whatever, you know that person that owns that vehicle is in the month of January. So for example, Justin's Ford Flex is not his. His sticker is January. His birthday's in September. So who else's birthday is in January? Mary Serlick. So he doesn't even have his own car. He doesn't even own his own car, because at almost 45 years old, he turns 45 September 2nd of this year. At almost 45 years old, his mommy has to do everything for him. His mommy bought him a Ford Flex after he got the last one repossessed when he was mooching off of me at 9 Tweed Road in Fox Lake. His mommy helped him buy his house in Daytona, and the worst part of Volusia County you could possibly buy a house other than like maybe certain portions of the land. I don't know why anyone would want to raise children in the area of Daytona he's in. It is not a safe area at all. It's not. Anyone that knows that portion of Daytona knows that that is not a safe area. It's literally the same concept of them forcing me to Rockford, Illinois, and forcing me to raise my baby Ariana in the ghetto. And then after only 9 months, I'm like, nope, I'm out. Peace. You cannot compare Rockford to Round Lake Beach from where I was raised to Rockford. It just, no. I quickly booked it out of that that area of Rockford, and we moved further south in a really very, very, very quiet area of Davis Junction, Illinois. But anyways, so watch this two-part hearing from Tuesday. You will see why I say Tuesday was incredibly healing for me. What Justin Serlick was doing to me over the years, everyone in Illinois that was close to me knew that I took Ambien and Xanax for my complex PTSD, for my sleep issues that tie to my childhood trauma, and I had a very hard time sleeping at night. Come to find out, it's because of Justin for many, many years. Because once he was gone out of my life in 2020, all of a sudden, without any sleep aids, I'm starting to sleep for the first time in my life. It's because I literally trauma bonded myself from my grandparents' trauma, immediately met John Paschal at 15 years old at RLHS. Justin Serlick was John Paschal's best friend, so these two teen boys were attached to my hip from age 15 on. Age 15 on. That's all I knew was just John Paschal and Justin Serlick. Everybody close to me knew that. So what Justin was doing well after I divorced him, including when I was in a committed relationship with, and I'm just going to go ahead and say his name because a lot of people know who he is, Roger Ruggles. Roger was a very, very important person to me a decade ago. We were trying to have children together. We were getting married. Everybody knew that. Everybody knew that I was trying to move on and find happiness with someone new. Justin Serlick continued to live with Roger and I. Yes, my ex-husband, who I divorced in 2013, continued to live with my fiance and I at 9 Tweed Road in 2014 and 2015. Who does that? What guy does that? Who lives with his ex-wife and her fiance and the children? Who the hell does that? Justin Serlick apparently does that because Roger was literally demanding Justin move out for the entirety of our relationship. Everybody close to us knew. Everybody that played D&D with us, everybody that played World of Warcraft with us, everyone thought it was the most bizarre thing in the world that my ex-husband is living in the same house with my fiance and I sharing a bedroom together. Roger moved in, was fully living with us, and putting up with Justin's crap, constantly telling Justin to stop yelling at his girlfriend and her kids. And ultimately, Roger stepped away, and I don't blame him. It took me years to get over him. I don't blame him for stepping away. I don't know how I expected him to even stay in a relationship with me because none of that was normal. And I fully admit that. So anyways, that is how long Justin has been controlling my life and keeping me from finding happiness with someone new. Is quite literally 2014, 2015 when Roger moved out. Then it took me a few years to get over him because I really was in love with him. And then when I finally started dating again in 2017, and that would have been Chris Buckley, who is still very close friends with me today. I consider him a very close friend of mine. It became apparent that Justin was not going to allow Chris and I to form a relationship either. And then when Chris told me that he was in love with me, I got freaked out and scared, and I just saw the whole thing with Roger happening all over again, and I shut him out of my life, and I basically ghosted him. And I'm sorry, Chris. But now you know why I ghosted you. I was terrified that Justin was going to interject in our relationship like he did with Roger and I, and then both of us would get hurt. So I figured it would be best to push you away then before we both got truly hurt, and ultimately I ended up hurting you anyways, so I'm sorry. Hopefully you can forgive me for that, because I really do care a lot about you, and I wish nothing but happiness for you. Anyways, so what I'm going to start doing now is maybe every Friday or Saturday evening, I'm going to start going live until I get my podcast up and running. This weekend, my nonprofit, Justice for the Serlick Children, is going to, I'm going to be purchasing the podcast equipment. Now that I've got the nonprofit and the business bank account, I'm going to be purchasing the equipment. If you hear meowing, that's Willow. Willow and Tiger love to be in the middle of everything. But we are going to start talking about my case and everyone else's cases that I've been introduced to since I've been networking with other people that are victims of Florida Circuit 7 corruption. Because as a candidate in the 2026 election for Florida legislature, I can even say that, it's been a long week. My main platform is going to be exposing the local corruption, the absolute disgusting waste of taxpayer money, while these elected officials walk all over us and our constitutional and civil rights. So since that hearing on Tuesday, my docket was at 146, DIN, docket information number 146. And since Tuesday, it's now Friday, so 3.5, 4 days, I am now at docket 151, and none of it is mine. This is all Mary Serlick doing things for her baby boy, her 45-year-old baby boy, that doesn't know my case at all. It's Heather Bendl versus Justin Serlick, not Heather Bendl versus Mary Serlick. And Justin Serlick doesn't know a damn thing about our case regarding our children. I did not have children with Mary Serlick. I had children with Justin Serlick. But this is absolutely Mary Serlick doing all of these docket information numbers, or ID numbers, whatever it stands for. Information, ID, whatever, you get the point. And the reason I say this is because there is an email from none other than Mary Serlick. Let's go through this, guys, because it really is getting hilarious. So I figure if I can have a good laugh, why not give you guys a good laugh too, right? Because, nothing's funnier than abusing our judicial system while children suffer, right? Nothing's funnier than that. But that's really what this boils down to. Abuse of our judicial system, corruption, collusion, because they know the right people, and partially these elected officials are just not doing their job or don't even know how to do their job, which is a problem for us taxpayers. So DIN number 47 was filed March 25th at 1:17 p.m. So March 25th was the hearing date. So this was filed right after the hearing. The hearing ended at around 11:40 Eastern time. This was filed at 1:17. I think that's reversed, so you can't read it. But yeah, it's 1:17 p.m. So not even 2 hours after the hearing ended. Now, what's humorous about this is the exact same arrearage affidavit that Mary Serlick posted on her Facebook page. And we're just going to pick this apart together, guys. I'm a scientist. I love picking data apart. In human resources, that was my job. Sifting through filings for life insurance, health insurance, payroll, 401k, pension. I mean, I was in human resources from 2000 to pretty much 2021. Right before I moved down here, I had to quit my job at Broadsfire in 2021 to move down here because I had to be local to our Lake Zurich, Illinois office because we were only remote during the pandemic. So there's quite a few problems with DIN 47 here, guys. I literally have my entire docket printed, and I showed you the picture the other day. It's pretty damn tall now, a lot of paper, and I know my case inside out. I can literally tell you start to finish exactly what was happening in my case at any given time because I studied it, and since October, it has been 100% me filing stuff and filing motions and requesting access to my kids, requesting child support modification, requesting the modification of the April 27, 2022 order that says my rights are reserved. Because we now know that Florida has jurisdiction, we just need the judge to actually say, yep, we have jurisdiction, let's go ahead and modify the shit. But no, they don't want to do that because they want to walk all over my constitutional rights while my children need help. There's not a soul that can look at my kids' unexcused absences, look at my kids' grades, look at their utter seclusion and say they don't need help. They absolutely need help. And it is mind-blowing to me that nobody has recognized this yet. And that's why I will be doing what my next step is. All right, so let's pick this apart. The top of this is nowhere close to my case number, at the top, what's supposed to be my case number is nowhere even close to accurate. The numbers are flipped. The letters are not even correct. My case number is 202331828. F is in Frank. M is in Mike. C is in Charlie. I is in Igloo. FMCI for like family, whatever. It doesn't say that at all. It's such a made up case number. Then there are spots where it's supposed to be dated and signed by the deputy clerk. It's all blank. All of it. All blank. Nothing's signed. And then Ariana Serlick is listed here for child support. Well, first of all, Ariana Serlick wasn't part of that April 27, 2022 order. She was still in Illinois. So I don't owe anything in child support because Justin Serlick never bothered to do the UCCJEA transfer, which is the compact law, so court systems in other states can talk to each other. He never did that. I did that. Me. Justin Serlick has absolutely done nothing to get this case transferred down to Florida. I had to pay thousands upon thousands of dollars to get it transferred down here. And we now have, because of my attorney, my payments to my attorney, September of last year in my docket, we now have verification from Illinois courts saying, yeah, all parties have been in Florida, including the oldest daughter, for 2 years now. What the hell do we want to do with the case? We have nothing to do with the case. So yeah, if you need, some sort of verification that Illinois is washing their hands of it, sure. That has been in my docket since September of last year because of me. Because I'm trying to gain access to my children, see them, talk to them on the phone, care for them, help them with their education. I mean, I was a school teacher. Why would I not help them with their education? So, yeah, docket number 47 is incredibly fraudulent, which is a felony in the state of Florida. Filing fraudulent Florida court documents. Felony, guys. There's a felony by Mary Serlick because she's in her little la land, little fantasy world of what's actually going on here. So right here, you can see all the numbers are completely wrong. Regardless of whether this is an actual document or not, who knows? Everything is so incredibly freaky in my case. I mean, I don't even know how to... Guys, I don't even know how to explain to make people understand how crazy this case is. And I will absolutely be writing books about it. Everything she files is public record. Everything, including what I'm about to show you, which is hilarious, guys. It's hilarious. I can't wait to get to this one. But everything she files is public record. Anyone can get access to this. So I don't know what she's doing, but she's embarrassing the crap out of herself at this point. Some of this stuff is just, I don't know. All right, we're going to move on. Fraudulent child support arrearage affidavit for child support that shouldn't exist because Justin Serlick's attorney, Serena Baldacchino of Rice Law Firm, under the table, corruptly, illegally, it is a felony what they did, probably multiple felonies what they did, had a contempt order signed where I owe Justin Serlick $15,000 in child support and $15,000 for his attorney fees. His attorney fees. After I've already spent $65,000 in attorneys between Illinois and Florida. I've had 3 attorneys between Illinois and Florida. Thomas Hunter in Barrington, Oren Grappai of Barrington. They're partners in Barrington, Illinois. Do not ever use them, by the way, because they are going to be part of my Illinois lawsuit. Do not ever use them or refer them. They are absolutely part of this corruption ring with attorneys and judges. So do not ever use Thomas Hunter, Barrington, Illinois, or Oren Grappai of Barrington, Illinois. I was referred to them by my divorce attorney, Dennis Gravel in Gurnee, Illinois. And damn do I wish I never did that because that's how my case ended up the way it did. And we'll start to talk about that as I record and produce my little mini docuseries I'm doing. We're going to start, Pete and I are going to start that this weekend, but I'm going to go chapter by chapter. So people that have never met or seen me in Illinois or Florida or across the globe can understand and follow this insane storyline from start to current, because it is just so damn crazy. Anyways, so DIN 48 is the sheriff's return of service, because if you guys recall, last Friday, exactly 24 hours, sorry, not 24 hours ago, but it felt like 24 hours ago, exactly 7 days ago, last Friday, I was yanked out of my home without even being read my Miranda rights, not being told why I was having handcuffs put on me, yanked out without shoes on. They didn't even allow me to put my damn shoes on. I had no clue what was going on. Because someone, Laura Stiles or Mary Serlick, called the Volusia County Sheriff's Office and had me picked up for failure to pay the child support purge amount of $1,000. That was part of that corrupt contempt order of November last year by Stasia Warren. That is a felony. None of this should have happened. But this is the goal. The goal is one of two things: to get me to kill myself or to get me thrown in jail so I can't continue to tell my story and I can't continue to fight for my babies, which I've been doing for 5 damn years now. It's been going on for 5 years. 5 years ago, last March 22nd, 2020 is the 5-year anniversary of them telling me to kill myself, and all of this flowing the way it has, and all of it being manipulated and controlled by none other than Mary Serlick. Mary, you're going straight to hell. Now I'm gonna show the world what your crazy it looks like. Anyways, so yeah, this is Pete came home, paid Justin Serlick the $1,000 to continue neglecting and abusing my babies while using them as weapons to continue hurting me. So this is just verifying that the sheriff's office took the money and took the handcuffs off me. And then we've got DIN 49. So this is the Florida State Disbursement Unit. This is them now finally doing things the proper way after trying to get me arrested and thrown in jail so I can't talk or, do anything anymore, just rot in jail, because that's what they want me to do. They want me to rot away and kill myself. This has been very obvious for 5 years since they told me to kill myself, that that's all they're trying to do is destroy me. Sorry, ain't happening. So anyways, this is today's date, March 28th. This is the request to redirect payments to a specific child support case properly by the Florida Department of Revenue. This is what should have actually happened back in November after that corrupt contempt order was signed, but never happened. Their first attempt was to get me in jail. That didn't happen. I went live and publicized last Friday. I emailed it to over 70 Orlando news reporters. So this is... Guys, I'm a scientist. I love putting things under a microscope. Love it. It's my favorite thing to do, is put things under a microscope and look at it and understand how things are made up. So this is me putting my case under a microscope. That is you guys. So I'm going to let the world determine what's actually going on here. You tell me. All right, guys, you ready for a really big laugh? Actually, we're going to go to DIN 150 next. DIN 150. Keep in mind, this is all since Tuesday. It's all child support, trying to use money to keep my babies from me, which is against Florida state law. Florida Supreme Court law clearly states you cannot withhold contact with children because of child support. Mary Jane Nettles told Justin this way back in August of 2020. It's documented in a freaking email. But here we are, 2 years later. I still have zero access to my 4 children. Can't even talk to them on the phone. But here they are trying to hunt me down for child support that they don't, they're not raising my kids. What am I paying them to do? Continue neglecting them? Continue abusing them? Continue using them as weapons? What am I paying them to do? If Justin is rolling in this money that he claims he's rolling in, then what do they need my $12 pocket change for? I make $12 an hour at NASCAR for only events. I'm in school right now. I don't have a full-time job because this is my full-time job. Fighting this corruption is a full-time job in itself. This is why so many women fall victim to this stuff, because if they don't stay on top of it, they get buried in this stuff. They get buried in the paperwork. They get buried in the court system. They have no means to continue fighting. What if I wasn't educated, guys? That's what's the most heartbreaking, because so many people are victims to this stuff because they just don't know their rights. They don't know their constitutional rights. They don't know their civil rights. And at this point, this is human rights violations. This is absolutely cruel and unusual to do to a mother who cares and loves her children. This is cruel. So at this point, this is absolutely violating my human rights. Constitutional, civil rights, human rights. Just being walked all over like I am not even a human. So this is demographic information sheet from the Florida Department of Revenue with today's date for a child support case number, blah, 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 blah. So basically these two, the 149 and 150, are the Florida Department of Revenue child support unit setting up my case. Setting it up, like just now. We're at the end of March and they're just now setting it up. All right. Now we get to DIN 151. This is the best part, guys. This is the best part. This is the icing on the cake. I audibly laughed out loud. I know that's a term us Gen Xers have been using since we got on the internet, LOL. And so often it's not actually a laugh out loud. It's just... This actually, when I printed this today from my docket, I couldn't help but laugh. All right, so this is an email from MS, because, God forbid she put her name on things, MS, Mary Serlick. I am Serlick at gmail.com. I as in igloo, as in Ira, M as in Mary, Serlick at gmail.com. To Cindy Manowski, C. Manowski at circuit7.org. CC'd is Justin Serlick's email, jserlick at gmail.com, first initial, last name. And then hbendl at comcast.net. Now, guys, I blocked her a little while ago because of the very, very abusive emails she was sending me. So I didn't even get this email, thank God, because I don't care about this woman. She's obsessed with me. Her and Laura Stiles are obsessed with me, but she seems to think I care about her. I don't. I'm sorry, Mary. I don't care about you. I want nothing to do with you. I never have. I never will. When you disappear from this planet is when this planet will be a better place. And I'm not going to do what you did to me and tell me to kill myself. I'm not going to tell you to kill yourself. I'm not that type of person. I will never be like you. I will actually never be like you. So subject 3.25.2025, important hearing info for the judge's case 2023-31828 FMCI. And this is Mary's words in an email to Cindy Manowski, which is one of the JA's, judicial assistants. I'm just going to show it to you. You can see where she loves to type in capital letters, which in internet terms means she's yelling. She loves to type in capitals. All right, guys, you ready for the punchline? It has been brought to my attention that I was personally accused of the court watchers being present during today's hearing were invited by me, Mary M, stands for Margaret, Mary Margaret, Serlick, in parentheses, TM. TM, as in trademark. She's trademarking her freaking last name. I can't even make this shit up. Now, first of all, you have to actually register a trademark and pay the fees for it to be actually a trademark. But she's doing this stupid crap because I now have a nonprofit, Justice for the Serlick Children. She trademarked my last name that I used to carry. And the moment I divorced her, excuse the human, I'm going to be nice, son, June of 2013, I went back to my maiden name, Bendl, because I'm actually very proud of my maiden name. I'm very proud of my grandfather, Major Robert E. Bendl, He's got patents in the military. He led a very, very respectful life. My family, my dad's family, is married into the 12th president. We have such a cool family history that he shared with me in 2021 as he's researching our past. But yeah, I want to do some more research. But anyways, my little ADHD side question. Anyways, let's get back to this email. So Mary M. Serlick, parentheses, and Mary is a regular lowercase. Then Serlick is capitalized. And then in parentheses, TM for trademark, close parentheses. Next sentence, I was not, in capitals, present during today's hearing, nor were my friends. Okay, first of all, if you watch that two-part hearing, you will absolutely see Justin constantly looking off to the side and then down as if he was looking at someone and looking at someone passing them notes. And if you observe me, you'll see the same thing because Pete was doing the same thing. So there's no way you can observe Justin's body behavior, his body language, and tell me she was not sitting right next to him outside of view. Come on, guys. We're more intelligent than that. They seem to think we're all stupid. I want this to be entered into the record. Okay, great, Mary. So now it's in my docket for the whole world to see. It's public record now, so that means I can share it. Thanks. These court watchers were invited by Miss Heather L. Bendl. Use my full name, because my full name is on everything now, because I am very proud of what I've accomplished the last 5 years since you tried to get me to kill myself. So the least you could do is use my full name. The proof is included. Well, there's no proof because this was just the only piece attached to the docket other than these two pieces, which are not actual proof. She posted to her Facebook the date, the time, meeting ID information, and link to watch plus instructions. Yes, because it is absolutely allowed. Court watchers is actually a whole thing in the court community. It is our right to watch court proceedings unless it is actually a closed courtroom for a very specific reason. It actually has to be deemed a closed courtroom. And that's usually because it involves high criminal court cases, so high profile criminal court cases. At some point, this will be a high criminal court case, and I'll get to that next. A high profile criminal court case, I should say. Anyways, so I am also, now I emphasize on these certain words because those are the ones that are capitalized. Her psycho babble. Sending the email to both parties so they are both aware. I am sending you this to be entered into the record. Well, first of all, Mary, your son made it very clear on Tuesday's hearing that you have access to his jserlick@gmail.com email, because he said on the record he's aware of the documents but has not actually looked at it. But clearly you did, because you coached him on what to say on Tuesday, and everything he was saying is so clearly falling out of your mouth to him. It is so obvious he does not even know our case. So they are both aware. I'm sending this to you. Please take appropriate action against Miss Bendl for her perjury statement during today's hearing with General Magistrate Alvarez. First of all, I never said any of this. And Mary, it's the public records videos, part 1 and 2, are open for everyone to view. Please tell me at what minute and second of either of those videos I say this. I just speculated, because one can speculate, that the disturbance by the hijacking was conveniently when I was condemning your son for raping me. Conveniently, right when I was condemning him for raping me for years under the influence of Ambien, which is a date rape drug. So, yeah, this is now public record, so I get to share it with the whole world, because everything she files into my court case against her excuse of a human son is public record. Sorry, don't like it. Maybe you should stop filing stuff, because everything you file, I am now going to show to the world. So anyways, her proof of me telling court watchers to join, which, okay, so there is literally a whole Facebook group for One Mom's Battle, literally for court watching. It is a national thing. We share our court hearings across the nation so we can see and document this corruption. Because this is not isolated to my case. This is happening all over our nation to all sorts of victims while children suffer. At the bottom of the email, I was not present at Justin's home during this hearing, nor was I one of her court watchers during the hearing. And for the record, none of my friends were present as court watchers. Regards, Mary M. Serlick, open parentheses, TM, close parentheses, TM. See it, guys? So, 1048 Chelsea Way, Port Orange, Florida, 32129, 847-980-8439. So she stupidly, I don't think she intended to do this, but she did, so I'm going to go out and say it. She filed this into my docket, making it public record. So now the whole world has access to her cell phone number. And her little jab at trademarked her last name. You can't trademark a last name. It doesn't work like that. Jesus Christ, Mary. Go back to school. It's so obvious you're a high school dropout. No wonder my kids are failing at life in your care, in your son's care. Anyways, so today at 11:38 a.m., we're going to get to the last part here. I got this email. My NASCAR employer account is now wage garnished. My whopping $12 an hour working events, which is usually no more than 24 hours an event. So like Rockville, I'll work 2 12-hour days. So 2 12-hour days times $12 an hour. So they are trying to now wage garnish my part-time funsy job. My job that I do for fun, to go to events for free, so I don't have to pay to get in. I get to go to Rockville, enjoy the bands, enjoy the concerts, people watch, and I get paid $12 an hour to do it. And after taxes, it's like $10 an hour after Social Security and Medicaid and all that. So they are now trying to wage garnish that bullshit corruption contempt order that was signed under the table illegally as a felony, multiple felonies probably, back in November, where I am to pay Justin $15,000 child support, $15,000 in his attorney fees that he chose to hire an attorney because I was taking him to court to gain access to my children that he has been hiding and withholding any and all contact since August of 2021. So it's 4 years now. I have had zero contact with my children that he's using as weapons to hurt me. Ariana, Tommy, Bianca, Charlie. They are all being used as weapons to continue hurting me. I'm sorry, guys. That is child abuse. Child abuse. That is not what a loving parent is supposed to do, and that is why I did not completely block Justin out of my life the moment I divorced his ass in 2013. Never did this to him. Never did this to him. But the moment I say I am done allowing you to rape me, I am done allowing you to hurt me, I am done allowing you to abuse me, I am done allowing you to physically and emotionally abuse our 4 beautiful babies that you never wanted. I desperately wanted children. You hated everything about the fertility process, hated it. You hated going to the fertility clinic. You made it very well known you didn't want to have kids. So why are you keeping them from me? I'll tell you why. Because I no longer want to live with you and be sexually assaulted by you and lose years of my life by you. there's nobody that can listen to my story and tell me what I'm saying is not true. So guys, please, if you have the chance, please watch that 2-part, the hearing from Tuesday, the March 25th, 2025 hearing. It's pinned to the top of my Facebook page. Part 1 in a link, and then part 2 in a link, because of that interesting hijacking in the middle of it, just proving that this is really just a circus and shit show. So now I am at the point that I feel that the case I have been building against all of these corrupt elected officials the last few years between Illinois and Florida is sufficient enough for a slam dunk case to take all these people to court. So I have been emailing most of the morning attorneys that specialize in constitutional civil rights violations, and basically all the attorneys that specialize in this type of corruption and elected officials walking all over humans, as if we have no rights in the world. So I feel confident that I have built my case strong enough with all the evidence showing this collusion and corruption in play. And Friday was that tipping point for me. Them coming in my home, pushing me inside my home, whipping my arm around, and throwing handcuffs on me without even reading my Miranda rights. I'm still waiting for the body cam footage. I put in a FOIA body cam footage request, and I have yet to get it. It's just sitting there pending. And then all of a sudden, a week later, I get proper child support disbursement unit things filed into my case. Not mailed to me in the mail. I'm assuming I'll get this in the mail too, but I just know about it because it's in my docket scanned now. So that means that someone scanned it into my docket because it was e-filed. Which makes me wonder if this is even legit, because I should have actually gotten this in the mail, physically in the mail from Florida Department of Revenue. But you can very clearly see right here, it was e-filed into my docket today. Today. Yeah. I don't know. But I know this case inside out. I know exactly what DIN number is what. Justin made it very clear in Tuesday's hearing he did not. He is referencing things that are absolutely proven to be not true. The amount of times he perjured himself in that hearing was, I mean, Jesus Christ. He is holding on to this fantasy, this thought that Illinois somehow has jurisdiction in the state of Florida. He is somehow thinking that Illinois can control Florida Family Court. Now, I have evidence that Michael G. Nurheim is in connection to the players involved in my case in Florida Circuit 7. And that is the email that I received from Florida Circuit 7's attorney, Joshua Griffith, January 7th of this year. So I've only had it in my hands for a few months now, this evidence of collusion and corruption with Michael G. Nurheim of Illinois Circuit 19. He was the state attorney that was very obviously paid by Mary or Ira, probably both, to not press charges on their son because the kids and I came forward with investigators in regards to the kids witnessing Justin attempting to rape me in my RV July of 2020. The kids actually woke up from me telling him to get off of me. He had my pants pulled down. So my 4 children actually told the investigators, and it's in the FOIA for the whole world to see. So they can deny it all they want, but it's actually in the investigative report that my children, without me present to coach them, literally said, yeah, we woke up to mom telling dad to get off of her in the middle of the night. And this was in my RV in Spring Grove, Illinois, July of 2020, when the pandemic was in full swing and no one was moving in or out of houses. So I and the kids made the best of it. They wanted me to buy that RV. Tommy was the one that found it on Facebook Marketplace. And it was a little bit bigger than I could tow, but I figured we'll make it work. They lost all of their scout resident camps between Girl Scouts and Boy Scouts that year. Their whole life was flipped upside down because of Justin Serlick screwing us out of our home of almost a decade. And for the record, everyone, because I know the Serlicks are going around lying about this too, I was never evicted from my house. There was an attempted eviction. The actual truth and reality of it is that Justin stopped paying his portion of the rent September of 2019. His portion was $750. My portion was $750. We had a joint checking account at Fifth Third. He had his own personal joint account or personal bank account. I had my own personal bank account because we were divorced. But we had a joint checking account for the sole purpose of paying for rent. He would transfer his money in, I would transfer my money in, and then Monami Realty would ACH debit the full amount of rent out every month. So my money was going in, his money was not. And it was debiting at the full amount of rent, but it was short by like $700 a month. Well, Fifth Third was actually covering September and October's rent. But then that third month where the full amount wasn't in there, it was literally knocking my personal account into negative. And then finally, November, December, none of our rent was covered. So December, like 19th of 2019, Justin signed a 5-day notice to vacate. Did not tell me he signed that 5-day notice to vacate. And I had no clue what was happening. It was clearly by design. January of 2020, I get a sheriff at the door serving me, not him because his name was not on the lease, serving only me with a court hearing where my landlord, Monami Realty, was taking us to eviction court. We didn't actually get evicted. What I did was I had a $3,000 deposit that I had put down when I moved the kids and I, well, at the time we were married, March of 2011. Justin and I were still married. We got divorced in 2013. So we moved in there. We had to pay a 2-month security deposit. So $3,000. Our rent was $1,500 a month. So they had in escrow $3,000 of my security deposit from almost a decade earlier. So I worked out with Monami Realty that rather than going through the eviction process, which is costly for them too, they have to pay for all of this in court. So we go in front of the judge. We say, okay, Your Honor, I've got $3,000 in security deposit. This is what I owe. This is when we can be out. And then we'll just wash our hands. I owe nothing to Monami Realty. They don't evict me, and they can just have the key. Awesome. That's what was agreed upon. And I have the court documents still from 2020 proving that's what actually happened. Where things got screwed up is we were supposed to be out February 28th of 2020. That was right as the pandemic was kicking in full swing. March 15th of 2020 is when it went national, and then Illinois had a full lockdown, no housing moving in and out. So had this happened just a month later, we would have still been at 9 Tweed. But because of Justin not paying his portion of the rent, by the instruction of Mary Serlick, because why would he pay his rent? It wasn't in his name. He wouldn't have an eviction on his name because he wasn't part of the lease. They knew this. They knew that I would get stuck with the entire bill. They knew I would get stuck with the eviction on my record. And then they knew that once I had an eviction on my record, it would be damn near impossible to get new housing with the children. That was their motive the entire time, was to screw me over to the point where they could just walk right in and grab my babies from me, move them down to Florida, peace, and then my kids are gone from my life because they disrupted my whole life with my home of almost a decade. That I was in a rent-to-own situation. I still have my lease where I was rent-to-owning that house. So at the end of my lease, the extra, that's why my rent was so high. The extra amount was going to go towards the down payment, and I was going to get in-house financing with Monami Realty, who is an investment group. So you guys putting lies all over my YouTube saying that I was evicted and I couldn't buy a house because it had nothing to do with my agreement with Monami Realty, Mary Serlick. So stop spreading lies about me. Jesus Christ, I have receipts of everything. I have proof of everything. And you better damn well believe I'm going to start showing everybody the evidence. Like your hilarious email here. So anyways, so back to 9 Tweed and how all this stuff began. So we were supposed to be out of that house by February 28th. And I would owe nothing. I would have no eviction on my record, etc. February 24th, we have a furnace fire. And it is like 0 degrees outside. January and February are the coldest months of the year in Chicago. So we have a furnace fire. I have the photos and the videos of the fire department at our house. It was all over my Facebook. Everyone that was friends with me on Facebook knew this was happening. So we have a furnace fire. The fire department comes in, determines that the blower on the furnace caught fire. It had nothing to do with the stupid furnace filter that I changed every 30 days because I'm stupid OCD about that stuff because I have asthma and allergies. So Mary Serlick's going on my YouTube lying about that too, that I caused the furnace fire because I don't change my furnace filters. Oh my God, get over it. You're such a pathological liar. The blower caught fire. I have photos of the blower. The blower caught fire because it overheated, because the damn furnace unit was over 20 years old. And the scumlord, Anand Sheth, literally scooped this house up on a foreclosure and never bothered to actually repair anything from the previous landlord who I originally signed the lease with in 2011. And it blew. It happens all the time in Chicago where furnaces go for 9 months out of the year. So anyways, that happens February 24th. Landlord puts us in a hotel, Super 8 in Gurnee, Illinois. So the kids and Justin and I are in this hotel. They come in, they have one furnace company give an estimate, then they want another furnace company give an estimate because they're basically looking for the cheapest possible fix to a furnace, which is $20,000 for a new one. In the meantime, we couldn't turn the furnace on per Fox Lake Fire Department. They said, nope, it's a fire hazard. Do not turn it on. If we have to come back out, we're going to fine you. Okay. So our temperature in our house dropped to like literally 25 degrees, which meant that we couldn't pack up our stuff. It was freezing in there. It meant that we couldn't sleep there. It was freezing in there. We could have put space heaters around, but that's a fire hazard in itself. So we were at the hotel in Gurnee on the whole other side of Lake County. And so we ended up not getting out of that house officially until like March 10th. And I, to this day, still have the court document from March 10th where Monami Realty was trying to charge me, and me only, an entire full month's rent for March of 2020 because we weren't out by February 28th. And judge, his name starts with a B, Illinois Circuit 19, it was a man, literally says, I mean, it's in my document folder. I could go grab it, but I'm not going to. Literally says, no, Monami Realty, I mean, look at all the photos. They left there with the house immaculate. They literally cleaned it, vacuumed, swept, mopped. It's not their fault the furnace blew. So no, they owe you nothing. You've got the keys in hand. You've got photos proving that they left the house in great condition. Case dismissed. Case dismissed. Meaning, I was never evicted from my house of 9 years, Mary Serlick. So stop lying to everyone about that. I was never evicted. I worked it out with Monami Realty, used my deposit of $3,000 towards the past due balance that your son left me with. To this day, he still owes me his portion of rent that I paid for with my deposit that had been sitting in escrow for 9 years. So this whole court case is nothing but Mary Serlick pathologically lying, filing crazy ass shit in my court case docket on clerk.org, www.clerk.org, case number 2023-31828, FMCI, Heather L. Bendl versus Justin D. Serlick. Justin doesn't even know the case, so it's very, very obvious that his mommy is calling the shots here for him. And when I start talking to him on at Tuesday's hearing about certain docket numbers, he's got his mommy's crazy-ass fantasy world version of what's actually happening. And you will see this play out in that two-part hearing that I pinned to my Facebook for the whole world to see. Again, I'm going to repeat myself. I paid the $20 from Florida Circuit 7's public recordings request website. Anyone can go do it. It's like 22 something with the Nexus fee. And then they email you these 2 videos. So I just paid $20 for the whole world to see this circus that is my case and just watch the constitutional rights, civil rights, and human rights that these people are violating of mine. Because now I am very, very confident that I have built a slam dunk case in U.S. Supreme Court to officially go after all of these elected officials in the state of Florida. The elected officials and attorneys that are in the doghouse with me is going to be Attorney Mary Jane Nettles, aka previous Judge Mary Jane Henderson. She's very well known in New Smyrna Beach to be corrupt as hell with the Wheeler family. My second attorney, Rick Brown, in Daytona. And then Justin's attorney, Serena Baldacchino of Rice Law Firm, who committed a felony with the under-the-table contempt order that was signed last November. And then her assistant, Paige Russo, gave me the evidence I absolutely need to go after Serena by emailing me 2 days after it was signed by Stasia Warren. Sorry, we weren't able to open your financial affidavit and all the supporting documents. Do you think you could drop it off at our office at Rice Law Firm in Daytona? Thanks, Paige Russo. Perfect. Gave me the evidence I needed to go after you guys. So Serena Baldacchino, so those are the 3 attorneys I'll be suing. And then Judge Stasia Warren, my first judge who recused herself from my case after I did a public records request with Mark Weinberg, the Florida Circuit 7 court administrator that handles the public records request. Mark Weinberg failed to give me all of the requested documents because there was absolutely no documents from Mary Jane Nettles at all. So that was a whole almost year chunk of my case just missing all communications. Wonder why. So I threatened to sue Mark Weinberg for failure to give me all of my court document communications through the public records request. And the Florida Circuit 7 attorney, Joshua Griffith, gets involved and emails me January 7th of this year, very politely apologizing to me. I'm so sorry. It must have been overlooked. Here's some extra communications we found with a broader search. That was a PDF file that gave me the absolute evidence I needed to connect the corruption and collusion to Illinois Circuit 19, Michael G. Nurheim. It was an email memorialized by my first attorney, Mary Jane Nettles, which is why she's part of the lawsuit that I'm going to be filing, proving that she passed along Judge Michael G. Nurheim's personal cell phone number to Serena of Rice Law Firm and Judge Stasia Warren. This is absolutely collusion and corruption. You cannot be communicating off-channel ex parte. Those are federal laws, because that's absolutely collusion and corruption. That's why a lot of people are going down in our government right now for stuff like this. What I don't think any of these players anticipated was me knowing and being educated enough to know to pull public records and who to contact to get those public records, because they clearly think that everyone that they walk all over is stupid and uneducated, and so that they can just do whatever they want, steal our money from us for retainers, and keep pulling money from us and keep pulling and drag it out and drag it out and drag it out until we're completely broken out of money. And that's how these people make a living. They don't actually enforce laws. They make a living off of stealing from innocent people in vulnerable situations that are desperately trying to gain access to their children, get divorced. I mean, guys, I have heard stories in Florida Circuit 7 where judges are just so damn lazy they refuse to just read like a 13-page divorce document and kicking the can down the road for years, refusing to divorce two parties that are in mutual agreement they want a divorce. So these elected officials are forcing two parties that have a mutual agreement to divorce and go their separate ways. They're refusing to sign it because they don't want to do their job and read the documents that they need to sign. And then we have people like Stasia Warren and Upchurch and General Magistrate Alex Alvarez just blindly signing shit without reviewing documents. And then on the other hand, you have judges that refuse to sign a document with both parties are mutually agreed upon things. It is so much evidence that our system is so broken and corrupt and absolutely not working for us. These people are not working for us. They are walking all over us. They are violating our constitutional rights. They are violating our civil rights. And in my case, they're violating my human rights as a mother who is trying to protect my children. This is cruel. What they're doing to me is absolutely cruel. And what they're allowing Justin and Mary Serlick to do to me is absolutely cruel. No mother should ever have to go through what I'm going through. No one. I don't even wish this upon my worst enemy. No mother that loves her children, that had miscarriage after miscarriage, fertility treatment after failed fertility treatment, should ever have to endure the amount of cruelty that I have endured the past 5 years. So I'm going to close this out with, guys, if you know of any civil rights attorneys out of this area, because I'm absolutely not hiring someone local. I prefer it to actually be outside of the state of Florida. I've been told multiple times today to look at civil rights attorneys in Georgia. Apparently there's a lot going on with Georgia right now in civil rights. So I guess I'll be looking into attorneys there. But I have absolutely been building a much larger case the past 5 years between Illinois and Florida, and now it is my time to strike. I have a massive case in Illinois as far as them child trafficking my children, stealing my children from me, and then child trafficking them, and then dumping them with the actual abusive parent, and then washing their hands of it, which is all sorts of violations in federal and state laws right there. And then I have this case that I've been building the last almost 3 years here in Florida that is now a slam dunk as well. So for all of these players involved in my story that are failing my children miserably right now, if you thought that you were going to do this to me, you thought wrong. I have been like 5 steps ahead of you the whole time. Everything I have been filing in my docket has been for a reason. It is to prove my story is nothing other than collusion and corruption. Getting my statement of eligibility to teach through the Department of Education here in Florida was a power move. It was very thought out and strategic by me to prove that I have zero criminal background, because there's no way in hell the state of Florida would give me a statement of eligibility if I do not have a bachelor's of something that I could teach. You have to have at least a bachelor's of something to teach in public schools, K through 12. So Mary Serlick and Laura Stiles going around lying everybody that I don't have an education. Well, I do. Sorry. So that Department of Education statement of eligibility proves that I do, because they have to verify my transcript, and then they determine what I am eligible to teach based on my transcript. So I am eligible to teach general science grades 5 through 9, and I'm eligible to teach aerospace and earth science grades 7 through 12. I think it is basically middle school through high school. General science and earth science / aerospace science, because I'm a geologist. I specialize in all things planet. And some school districts actually let me teach biology because they're that much hurting for biology teachers. So I got hired by Volusia County Schools very strategically to get an internal perspective of what the heck is going on at VCS and why my children have a 1.0 GPA. The rule of thumb is you never want to work in the district you live in, But the reason I sought out a job at Volusia County Schools is because, one, Volusia County Schools has been illegally blocking me from my children. So I wanted to see why and how that's happening. I know now. Two, I wanted to understand what the hell is going on with my own children's education and why they have a 1.0 GPA for 3 years now. I no longer wonder. Three, I wanted to see why my son attempted suicide for the insane bullying at Mainland High School in Daytona. I no longer wonder because I myself was being bullied. I had my life threatened. I was spat on by these middle schoolers. I walked away after 10 school days because of the level of abuse I was dealing with by these kids. And then my actual principal, Becky Porter at New Smyrna Beach Middle School, her exact quote was, "I guess you're just not cut out to be a middle school teacher." I was a Girl Scout leader for the exact same age group in junior Girl Scouts in middle school in Illinois. I'm cut out to be a middle school teacher. I'm just not cut out to be abused verbally and physically by 121 12 and 13-year-olds day in and day out. We don't get paid enough for that. Get your student bullying under control. Get your school under control. Because I promise you guys, that level of bullying is not tolerated in other states. So one of my platform laws for my candidacy is going to be an anti-bullying act in the state of Florida. And I would like it to be named Tommy's Law after my son, who almost took his own life for the level of bullying at Volusia County Schools. So if I was indeed a child abuser, and if I was indeed someone who neglected my children, that would show up on my criminal records report. And I would never, ever, ever be approved to teach other people's children. I did that strategically to prove to the entire world that what the Serlicks are going around lying about is absolutely untrue. And that is just the story they're running with to continue weaponizing my children to hurt me. But I have a few more tricks up my sleeve to just further prove my background is absolutely 100% criminal record free. And there's no reason I can't be around my own children. There's no reason I can't talk to my own children on the phone. There's no reason my children can't live with Pete and I here in this very large home with a massive in-ground pool that I just absolutely know they would love. But instead, you guys want to weaponize my children and neglect them and abuse them. And here's me now fighting back. Here's me. I'm putting that seal of complete on my docket that I have been building for my civil rights case. And now I am actively seeking out attorneys for this U.S. Supreme Court case. And I'm going to bring all you corrupt fucks down. Moving forward, I would like to start scheduling a live, maybe on Friday nights or Saturday nights, because I know, like I see Crystal watching, I know there are a few moms out there that are dealing with very similar things in this corrupt family court system across the nation. And I absolutely want to start discussing this. I know some of you, might not be as outspoken as me in regards to your cases, and that's perfectly fine. Talk about whatever you feel comfortable with. Please do not overshare if you're not comfortable oversharing on the internet. But my next step is ordering the podcast equipment through my nonprofit this weekend and getting my podcast up and running for those that do want to use their voice and start getting their story out, because it's our First Amendment, guys. We have every right to talk about how these elected officials are victimizing us through this corruption and collusion and making money off of us as humans. It is disgusting. It is inhumane. It is illegal. And it is just morally wrong. So I am a whistleblower that wants to bring light to this very dark secret that is this disgusting ring of family court corruption. So I'm going to go for today. I just wanted to share with you guys my Friday update in regards to what Mary Serlick has been filing in my case against her son since Tuesday's hearing. But for those of you that hugged me last night or commented on my photos from last night at the Babes, Booze, and Business Gala, commenting that they are happy to see me smiling after what happened 1 week ago where these officers abused their positions of power again. I really appreciate you. You have no idea what your hugs and your heartfelt comments mean to me. After the last 5 years of what I've been through, you guys you mean a lot to me. And I can't thank you enough for your continued support, all of you. You really do mean a lot to me. And I want to make sure I overstate that, because without the support from everyone, I would not be as strong as I am right now. And that is something that my enemies can't stand. Sorry, maybe they should find a new hobby other than trying to get me to kill myself. So I just want to give an afternoon update. I will be uploading this video to my nonprofit page. I'm going to start a new playlist, just like weekly update videos or whatever. Then get my podcast up and running. If you are interested in being on the podcast as a guest and sifting through my drama that is my case, or talking about your own case, I am very interested in thoughts, ideas, and I still need to come up with a name. So if you guys want to help me come up with a creative name for my podcast, there's podcasts by like Marianne Petrie called Slam the Gavel. I've been listening to her podcast a lot, and she has a lot of great information on what she's been through. There are plenty of podcasts out there, but I would love to have you guys help me decide what I should name my podcast. And I have some other ideas. I want to make a podcast specifically for my marketing company to help advertise small businesses here local to Volusia County. I would like to discuss local issues, not just about the court corruption, but I would like to discuss like flooding issues, maybe who's running in elections, what's going on in the community. I have a lot of great ideas, and I would love input from everybody on what your thoughts are on all of that. So direct message me if you don't want to comment on this, or comment on this and tell me what your thoughts are on a podcast name, maybe local podcast of Volusia County, just a separate podcast. But I used to be on radio stations when I was younger. So this is something that I want to get back into, my fine arts side of me that died when I was 15, and I became John and Justin, and I am getting back to who I was before those two pushed me into this world of seclusion and video games and D&D. That became my whole life, and I have a whole fine arts side to me, performing on stage, choir. I'm finally getting back to who I was before those two took over my whole personality. So you're literally watching me heal right in front of your eyes. You are watching me transform from a very broken human to who I am becoming now. So this is me documenting this journey because I feel it's important for others that might be a few steps behind me to have that inspiration. People like Marilee McLean, Dana with Survivor Center, they are all people that I highly admire. Their strength has given me strength. Listening to their stories has given me strength. Their books, reading and listening to their books have given me strength. And someday I will join them as an author in my story. Because this whole docket that I have been building the last 2.5 years is me building a book. Believe it or not, it is me building my own book to write someday. And I've been saying that for a long time, but that's next. So let me know if you have any ideas on civil rights attorneys. Let me know if you have ideas on podcast names. Let me know if you have ideas on podcast topics. Have a great Friday, everyone. Have a great weekend. And I might go live maybe tomorrow night when I can get more people interacting with me because I know it's in the middle of the workday. Have a great day, everyone. Bye.